All right, so today I'm joined by Joaquin Buckley, coming off a unanimous decision win at UFC Vegas 80. How
Yeah,
you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. Happy and ecstatic, bro, to get that win. Second win in the welterweight division, and a dominant performance from myself, beating up Alex Morono, who's a tough vet. Feel good about it.
Yeah, so how'd you feel in there? I think afterwards it looked like you might have been a little iffy about your performance, but dude, you fucking dominated. So how'd you feel in there?
The reason why I felt that way, I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted that 50K. I
That's
was
what it
mad as hell.
was.
I knew if I finished Alex Morono, I definitely was gonna get the fight performance bonus. But because I didn't and it went to the judges, I knew I wasn't gonna get it, and that's why I was a little disappointed because I didn't get it in my last fight either with Andre Fiallo. And I tell people all the time, I'm not just only fighting to win, but I'm fighting to get financially secured. And I definitely wanted that that third check as they call
Yeah. I
it.
feel like that's also because they're not like you said, we'll get into it too, but they're not hyping the fight. So if Dana has his eyes more on your guys' fights, as far as
Mhm.
like, your opponents go too, then I think he would give you that bonus when you win
Right,
those. Like that
right.
Fiala one is an easy knockout or an easy bonus. Like he'd give it to Joe Pyfer, because Joe Pyfer's got that hype. But I feel like they just got to get a little bit more hype behind you, get you some
Yeah.
opponents too that can hype up the fights.
Yeah. And with that being said, with a lot of these fighters that's not willing to hype up the fight and not really to promote themselves, they shouldn't be rewarded of anything, especially if they don't go out there and fight like they should be fighting. Because guess
Right.
what? Ain't nobody watching. You might
Yeah.
put on one hell of a performance, I say that, but if ain't nobody paying attention, it's just like, what are we doing this for? And for me, I feel like that's just a part of our job is to promote these fights and get people to watch and pay attention. And once we do that, we also set not wouldn't say a narrative, but a standard for all fighters.
Right.
At the end of the day, like our job is to all work with one another and not only just compete and to fight, but to as well promote and help each other. Build up one of the best fight cards of the year, depending on who fight card you fighting on.
Right.
From the
And
prelims to the main card, everybody should be working on promoting the fight.
exactly. I feel like this is like kind of my take on it. I feel like sometimes fighters will be like, all right, in my head, like, I'm going to wait till I get to a certain point in the UFC to start like talking shit, maybe like, promoting my fights. And I think that's also why you get some hate because fans don't understand that you're trying to promote your fight. And they're like, in their head, they're like, oh, you don't have any, even reached this point yet or something like that.
Yeah.
But
And see, it
I
don't
don't know.
make
How
any
do you get
sense.
these guys past that?
Right. So my
Yeah.
thing is, I had to promote myself from the beginning when I fought in St. Louis. Didn't
Yeah.
nobody want to come and see me fight because they didn't know who I was. So you know what I had to do? I had to reach out to people. I had to talk to people, person to person, show them my fights on my phone. This is the old school footwork. If
Yeah.
I went into a grocery store, if I was riding on a bus, wherever I would go, I would let people know who I was. That's how I promoted myself. You can't start or you can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna get started when I get to this point," because you never gonna get to that point,
Right.
right? There's only a small amount of fighters that have reached that pinnacle. The Conor McGregors, the Ronda Rouseys, the John Jones, the Anderson Silvas. But other than that, there's not many people within our sport in, I say, the last 10 to 15 years to reach that. There's a
Yeah.
very small amount of people that have done that. And the only way that you can get there is by promoting yourself from the beginning so that you know the business and you know the branding and the marketing that goes behind that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like you said, people just don't get it. That's all.
Yeah, that's probably it though, because like you just said, you promoted yourself in the beginning. Maybe like this newer generation of fighters are falling back on promoting themselves, just relying on getting into the UFC to get a name. Almost like if they don't make it to the UFC, they will never have a name. But you even got signed to Bellator with like one fight under your belt early on in your career, which is probably through promoting yourself.
Yeah. So I got signed. Well, I had actually 5 fights
Oh, five
regionally.
fights.
5 fights. I was
Regionally.
five.
Okay.
I was 5-0. I was 5-0, and then I got Bellator
In the
had came to St.
Shamrock,
Louis.
right?
Shamrock, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So once I fought on Bellator in St. Louis, that's when they signed me to a deal. But yeah, you never want to stop trying to market yourself because at the end of the day, once this is all done, said and done, like you're gonna have to have something else to fall on. So with this new generation, be honest with you, this is the best time to do it because of these phones that we have.
Hmm.
Different people that we can speak to, different people that we can outreach and influencers, right? Like this is the perfect time to be a fighter because you can reach out to whoever and start branding yourself. and
Yeah.
start promoting yourself to the fullest without the UFC's help. Because unfortunately, when we don't fight or we don't have a fight set up, ain't nobody talking about us. That's a lot of fighters, right?
Right.
Like I said, if you're not a Conor McGregor, if you're not a Habib, if you're not a John Jones, you ain't nobody, right?
Right.
Even that goes to myself. So when I don't have a fight booked, I know that I need to keep myself in people's mind, right? Keep myself relevant. People might be annoyed by it or whatever, but this is, hey, you still know that I'm here, you
Yeah.
know? Because
And it
there's a
makes your
lot.
name even bigger. All that hate, they fucking spike
Gotta,
in the comments,
I
bro.
gotta love it, gotta love it.
Yeah.
But you gotta realize it's 800 people on the roster, right?
Hmm.
But how many fighters can you name?
Well, for
You,
me, like maybe like 50, 75, but other guys like
Right. No,
10.
no, no, no. But hold on. And if you want to, I can test you live, right? If you can just do
Right
it on
off.
the top of your head, right?
Yeah.
How many fighters can you name? That really, and the only ones that you're gonna name are the ones that's really gonna come to your head, right? But
Right.
it's like
Right.
realistically, even if
Like
you're a
the top
top face,
15, 20. Like I'm thinking Sean O'Malley off the top of my head. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
But the ones that have a presence about themselves are the
Yeah. Hmm.
ones that you're gonna name: the Sean Strickland, the Sean O'Malley, the Conor McGregor, my man. See, look, I even be slipping up sometimes, you know.
Right.
But the ones that actually leave a presence on who they are and their personalities, those are the ones that you're gonna mention. But there's
Yeah.
still damn near 700 fighters. You know what I mean? 800 fighters there, but you can't name them. Don't nobody
Right.
leave their presence. Don't nobody want to talk about themselves and brand themselves because, like I said, if they do that and they don't live up to it, it's embarrassing.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And I guess it makes it harder on them too. Maybe some guys, they can't handle the pressure. Maybe with all the shit talk, their heart rate will spike in the fight because they'll start thinking about the shit they said. That's probably why they don't do it, right? What
That's
do you
wild.
think?
But at the end of the day, it's all scary. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to even step in that cage, bro, is a scary experience. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's just with everything that we doing, let's make it worth it.
Right.
Let's make this experience, as my man Alex Morono put it, let's make this experience worth it and make
Hmm.
people want to tune in to watch our fight.
You
You
got me
know?
excited with that one thing you said. You're fucking. They asked you something about him, like the great white. You're like more like a great white seal.
Still, yeah,
But
yeah,
but
yeah,
if he were to
yeah.
take that and run with it too, that would have caused a lot of excitement for the fight. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Like I said, bro, it's just it is what it is, you know. But at least
Yeah.
I know for myself. So the more people that don't do it, it just makes it better for me because I'm one of a kind every time I go out there.